I get the feeling that, like, he couldn't get out of here fast enough. That he wanted to get the hell out of here as quickly as he possibly.
I don't know. Yeah, and
That's
now you're surprised at that. Or?
Yeah, I am. I am surprised.
I think it sounds like people are not surprised, but affected by the idea that he had it in his head for a while, right?
Yeah.
Four Nations, talking to guys there, talking about places in Vegas during the season. You know, I think that's what irks some folks.
I mean, from a fan's perspective, this past year was, and if I do say so myself, maybe the best chance the Toronto Maple Leafs ever had to make a long run in this era. And listen, they got, you can talk about their glowing day yesterday that they had in free agency and, the Matias Michelli experiment, maybe you can talk about that. But, like, to have the leading scorer of the Toronto Maple Leafs talking about it at a press conference now, being like, I was talking to Stoney and talking to Hiller and, they said Vegas was great. And it's like, it's hard to not be like, he was dreaming of Vegas since the puck dropped after he got back.
Reality.
No,
it's just, Sam.
Okay.
Free agency in professional sports has been around now for 50 years.
100%. I get that.
Everybody moves. Everybody. Why is this any different? Why can't he be like everybody else and just pack up, play the last year of his deal, and move? Why? Why?
The problem, I think, is that they don't feel like he was fully committed to the team he was on.
He had a career year at 102 points.
Yeah.
Career year.
Imagine how good he'd been if he was bought in.
130?
Maybe.
140?
Sure.
I'm not saying that he wasn't bought in. That's not the conversation I'm having here. But, it's human nature. In those playoff games, like, he was good in Game 6 when he set up Matthews for that goal. But as soon as it starts to go bad, Game 5, Game 7, he's like, I'm starting to think about other things. It's like it's close to the end. It's just human nature. And it just hurts my soul that the guy from the area, the guy that's played in the OHL, didn't want to stay with this team, and he'd rather go play for the glitz and glam in Vegas. Why do you want that more than this?
That's it in a nutshell.
Why do you want that more than this?
No different than anyone else. You ask an Islander fan right now for Tavares, it's like it happened yesterday. They are still pissed.
Mm-hmm. For sure.
And that was 7 years ago.
And I think both parties are entitled to that frustration.
It's just natural, but get it off your chest. Go to social media.
Oh, I did.
Everybody can rip on him, and then eventually you have to move on because there's going to be a next one here.
Yeah, you just said they didn't move on Long Island. It's not going to be like that people move on.
I guess this just kind of confirms what a lot of people were feeling.
Yes,
which
he never
wanted to be here. And
people did hold out hope that if they somehow had some magic here, they find themselves in a conference final or a Stanley Cup final, he would have changed his mind and everybody could have lived happily ever after, and it didn't happen.
Sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say, to put one defense for Mitch Marner here that I think holds some weight is that when you go give your first press conference with your new team,
of course,
it's about
Best
your
behavior.
new team.
Yeah, I get it.
And it's not about that team. And you want to offer something to that fan base, the way that like Pizzetta put out some pictures of himself in Leafs jerseys or Tavares pajamas. No, but I mean that kind of stuff that he grew up like. My point is, people want to say, hey, I'm connected to this team, and they want to start connecting new fans. So, for Mitch to start being like, I've heard great things. People say the area is awesome. You want the new fans to be like, okay, this kid is, he likes what we are.
Yeah, just to have him hanging out with all the players and the wives of the Four Nations, dream about playing in Vegas during the most important season of Toronto Maple Leafs hockey in my life, it does rub me the wrong way.
Okay.
Sorry. It's like, we talked about it with Stoner, and we talked about it with Hiller. It's like they're on nickname basis.
You're not naive to think that it doesn't happen. You just don't want to hear it publicly.
I think that's probably bang, for sure.
Okay.
Yeah. I do.
I get that. You're a super fan.
I am. And there's a lot of super fans in this team.
Yeah.
In fact, maybe the most super fans in this team.
Perhaps.
Just played the clip 2, and I have a question off the back of this. Mitch Marner, clip 2 on his time in Toronto.
last year in Toronto or 2 years ago, really kind of, stuff, we didn't win, obviously. We didn't do what we wanted to do. Stuff started kind of going, a little north, a little south. We didn't know what was going to happen. A lot of trade rumors all last summer. Didn't know what was going to happen in that regard either. And, as soon as the year started up, we were ready to commit and play hockey and, see what would happen. But, at the same time, we're willing to take it to the distance and, kind of told Toronto that that was our plan. And, I was so grateful to play there for 9 years. I said it at my end of the year interview there that I took a risky pick on a small kid from Toronto that, was forever grateful to be able to wear a Maple Leaf jersey and forever to be able to play in front of, some of the greats that ever wore that jersey. But just now it's being a family man, a father. We thought our time was, ready to look somewhere else and find a new home and find a new place to grow our family. And like I said, I'm so grateful to be here and so happy to be a part of this team.
So the question I have off the back is, you said 1 or 2 years off the top, right? And I saw our boy Bunkus talking about this a little bit today on his show about just the blame that falls for not getting anything out of this on Shanahan and the belief of like, we're going to keep going back to the well and like everybody's safe and we're not going to. Was that 2 years ago or was that 3 years ago that he said that?
It was 3 years ago. I think 2 years ago.
Was 2 years ago Boston or no? 2 years ago was when they lost to Florida in the second round. Or no, that's right. 3 years ago.
No,
I guess,
it was 3 years ago.
Yeah.
2 years ago was Boston.
7 games. Pasternak overtime, cut to the backhand off of Morgan Riley.
Yeah. So what is your question?
So how much of the blame for the way that this is perceived is on Brandon Shanahan? And that's what I want to know. Because I think Mitch is taking it really tough right now, and I'm part of it, fully admit that. But I do think that the outgoing president and his lack of, not lack, but like just not giving in to trading him and wanting to be right about this really cost the Leafs some futures here. Yeah. Like, he wanted to be right. He'd rather lose and be right than, be wrong and trade him, which is really frustrating as a fan.
Yeah, it takes a big man to admit that the plan hasn't worked and
correct.
The whole sunk cost thing and just eat it like that. I definitely think that is a part of this. I think a good lesson is, and this isn't just trades and hockey. This is like, if someone doesn't want to be in your life and you're trying to force it and making sacrifices to make it work, doing everything you can, it's like, it's not, you can't control people. It's not meant to be. Mitch didn't want to be here, and it probably should have done what the Islanders did with Dobson. Dobson started to press the Islanders. I want more. I got a new agent. They just said, all right, we don't need you then. Move on. Couple of picks. The Islanders have a fresh wave of players coming. The Leafs could have done something like that.
Like, how would, for example, Kelly McCrimmon have handled it? Like, if you look back, if it was like him in Vegas in the Bizarro world where he's like not committing to being there, is no trade, like, he would have been traded 100%.